Hey, good morning, everybody, or whatever time it is that you decided to listen in. Welcome to the X2 Drop, where the Duel Factory and I discuss anything and everything Yu-Gi-Oh related. So, for anyone new or returning podcast listeners that want to find the episodes from seasons 1 through 4, it is about 90 episodes. They're available on a playlist on youtube.com/bingohd. And if you want to suggest a topic for us to discuss, the best place to do that is by posting it in the podcast suggestions on the Discord or leaving a comment on YouTube video. But without any further ado, this week's episode, we are going to break down the remote duel YCS results and our thoughts on them. And then we're going to tie it in with the discussion from the OCG Ban List that came out recently and the implications that it could have here in the TCG. So the remote duel YCS, so for anybody that doesn't know, it did conclude this weekend, December 11th, 2022. And the results, I don't want to use the word surprising, but it was not what I entirely expected. So I don't know if you had the same opinion, Joe, or...
Well, seeing as everyone keeps calling it a tier 0 format, it's really interesting to see that not a bigger chunk of the top cut was more the Shizu tier limit. There's actually a rather large diversity compared to other tier 0 formats. What is it so there's tier and there's flu, and then there was 4 other decks. It looks like there were some sprite players. There was a runic stun, which I'm very interested to see what that is. Exo Sister and the Runic Naturia deck, which I've seen running around here and there. So it's definitely not Spiral format where it was 30 of the top 32 decks or something like that.
I think some Spiral got number. To 31, yeah.
And it's been on a steady decline from this is now I want to say the third YCS, because what is it? We've had the one before that, there was Costa Rica, and now this one, which is the remote duel YCS. So, it just keeps going on the decline, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah, so for anybody that can't see the visual, that's just listening in, it's a 18 Ishizu tier, and then the next 2 are 5 Sprite and 5 Flu, followed by the 2 Runic Stun, and then the 1 Exorcist or 1 Runic Naturia. So... I mean, comparative to the 30 spots that we were seeing previously, this is pretty surprising, and this could be for a variety of reasons. It is, for one, I don't want to take anything away from a remote duel YCS because it is just as competitive most of the time as a regular YCS. But, I mean, it's been a while, right? How long has tier been relevant? Maybe the good players are teching around it, and they realize that they might be able to come up with something. I don't know. So
that's an interesting point you make, because tier's been around for a while, but this is more or less the third major event that a Shizu tier has been prevalent. So that's an interesting point you make.
Yeah, people might just be getting bored or realize that the matchups aren't as one-sided as they thought, or they realize
here's another.
Sprite's resilient to the grave shuffling. I don't know.
For sure. There's another interesting point that was brought up to me earlier today. But it also could be the fact that it's because it is a remote duel YCS. So in past, before we had regular events come back and everything was remote, I know in the past, remote duel YCS tend to take longer and longer due to everything being done on one Discord channel, I think it is. And then you have to go back and forth between 2 players playing on cameras and stuff like that. And I think it got to the point where a Shizu tier limit, right, takes quite a bit of time to play when you're across the table with someone. So remote duel might add to the amount of time it takes to actually play, and not to mention the time in between rounds. Because I think if I was reading it right, they played 7 rounds day 1 or something like that. And then they played 2 or 3 today to make top 32, and it took forever. So that could be a mitigating factor of why tier limit's representation was so far down.
Yeah, it's it could be so many different things. And then I would also argue that when you go to a YCS, right, when you're physically going to a YCS, you're committing, right? You're committing a lot of your time, energy, and money into going to that event most of the time, right? You're dealing with lodging, you're dealing with travel. So when you go, when you're that committed to go to an event, you're less likely to take a risk on something that isn't the best deck in the room, especially if you're a very serious player, right?
Oh, for sure.
And when you can compete from the comfort of your own home, right? Maybe you don't really care what the results are, and you don't really have to commit to anything outside of the time and the entry fee. Like, I feel like people are more willing to test stuff out. I could be wrong on that, but
I don't know. I like where you're going with that, because like I never really thought about that, but like it's all the prestige of a major event, but like you don't have to go anywhere. Like you're just sitting in your room or wherever you're at the time, and that's actually like a really cool concept, because like you said, like most people don't want to take a risk, especially when they do like traveling and stuff like that, but like you're literally like the best spot possible to take that risk. That could be also a reason too. Like people might have actually just tried to play off the wall decks.
yeah, like runic stun. Like, no, when was the last time you heard somebody talk about that in a competitive discussion?
I don't even think I've heard it. The place to like find like all those like really weird decks is like the DB Grinders channel. I don't even think I've seen them like do any matches with it either. So that's pretty cool.
It's because like your matchup against tier is not historically great, especially when you're so reliant on fountain resolving. And I don't know. I'm curious to see those lists, but I haven't been privy to seeing any of the lists from this event. I don't know about you.
No, I've only seen the breakdown. I haven't seen the actual list or anything like that. But I think it's because they play Top Cut at a later date, if memory serves me right.
No, I mean, event's over. Ishizu won against Flu in the finals.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah,
it's different than past remote YCSs then. That's cool.
Yeah, so the winner was Ishizu tier, but Flu, once again, was losing in finals.
Bro, I hope they get silver for the entirety of the actual like involvement in actual meta relevancy, I should say. I hate Flu so much.
Are they going to be the next Thunder or what?
I literally don't want to do this podcast anymore. I think you just compared Flu to Thunder. What? What?
How many events did Thunder take second?
At least 4.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Minimum. I'm mad that you're making that comparison right now, and I can't argue it.
Yeah, no, I mean the power level's totally different, but it was an interesting
everything
event.
You say piss me off. Let's start with that.
It's because Thunder is just it's your baby and no one can insult it.
Is that right? You son of... Never mind, I won't say it.
All right. Now, so with this results, we can see that tier isn't going anywhere and is still the best deck in the room, hands down, and probably will be until the foreseeable future, product or ban list, obviously. So let's take a look at the OCG ban list and then bring it back after that discussion. So obviously we all know there's a substantial difference between our format and theirs when it comes to certain hand traps, but at the end of the day, the decks are the decks, right? So they banned 2 things. Was it Kitkalos and the barrier statue, right?
Barrier statue of the storm winds, baby. Let's go. No more. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think that is the only Flu hit, right? On the whole thing?
As far as I can tell, yeah, but that's a big one, because now like they just can't go unga bunga, you can't play.
Yeah, I mean that's I find it very rare to encounter a player who tells me I love it when I can't play the game, right? So
only Douglas French tells you that.
He loves it when his opponent can't play.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so I'm happy with that, but I mean, let's just look at all the tier hits on this list, and it was Kitkalos and was it Merle and Rhinoheart?
Nah, so Kitkalos went to 0, and then Sheeran and Rhinoheart went to 1.
Yeah, so I don't know what that says for the deck in the future, but
to be fair, Sheeran could like there's an argument like between like the best two to like have in hand is either like is like Havnus or Sheeran. But like Sheeran, like when it resolves, is arguably more powerful because like you're putting one on the board and you could like freely discard one to gain the effect. So like that's kind of crazy in itself. And then Rhino Heart's also a pretty solid hit because like it's Deck's arguably best normal summon because like it's kind of like the same idea of like Mathematician where like you normal summon it and it's Precision Mill. That's what Rhino Heart is for. Tier limit and obviously more because it can revive itself and keep triggering effects and stuff like that. So like that's crazy, right?
Yeah, and I like this list was meant to kill the deck, right? I feel like we can all agree on that.
It gave it a good kick in the shin.
Yeah, I mean that's because counting the Kashtira one, they have what 5 main deck monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, and putting 2 of them into one and getting rid of the fusion that you need to make your other fusions. Like, what do you? I don't see how the deck plays.
The Kick Hollows one's really big because like now you not only have Kick Hollows, but then you also lost access to Rook Hollows. And technically, you can still make it with King of the Swamp, but no one's doing that.
Yeah. I mean, somebody will try, but I feel like this was enough to take it out of the best deck in the room status.
Oh, for sure.
Everything else, right? I don't really want to talk about. I really just wanted to dive into the tier limits hits because everything else is like they're either catching up with us or they're I don't know. It's either just matching us or expected hits in the future. Like the unlimited ABC Dragon Buster, Double Iris Magician, the Adventurer level 3, was it Torn Scale and Sanguine?
Yep, Scarlet Sanguine. I know that was at 1 for a while.
Yeah, so those free them because they're unnecessary. They're catching up with Change of Heart to 1 and Ptolemaeus and Steam. They have the Ancient Fairy Dragon errata. Okay, this one. I want to talk about this one. Bestial Magnamute.
Crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Especially since like it's arguably like the best, most generic one, and they're just like, nah, you can have it at 1.
I mean, I think I started saying this like 3 weeks ago after I like played with them for 10 seconds. The card's nuts. And it absolutely is the best one. No one can tell you otherwise. I could see that happening over here. I was actually hoping it would because it's a good card. I don't think it should be banned, but for what it does, searches any dragon for either the disruption plus follow-up because it searches in the end phase, right?
Yep.
That's like when you're searching on your opponent's turn, that's like the best place to search.
Yeah, the card's solid. I mean, like being able to interrupt your opponent's turn is huge, but then being able to search the follow-up after the interruption or like
you search the piece you need, right? Because if you need more disruption, you search something that can handle that. Or if you realize like you shut down their plays because you had a bestial plus something else, and that like shut them down, they have nothing for you. Then you just search Extender City.
Clearly, it's being put to 1 because it was searching Diabolos. So I mean, like
Diabolos. Yeah, it's too good.
Literally best card in the deck. Couldn't tell me otherwise. But in another case, we don't ban the problem. We just, ban the searcher of the problem. I'm just playing, guys. Don't listen to me.
I thought it was searching Phantasme.
I have yet to see that, but when I do see it, it's going to be crazy. Could you imagine just turn 1, summon a Magnamut during your turn to, like, actually activate the effect in end phase? You just add Phantasme and just stare your opponent in the eye. And they're like, what just happened?
Yeah. I love Phantasme, but we're getting off topic. What's next to Brand of Fusion?
That's the Kashtira. I want to say that's the new card that we're supposed to be getting. I can't remember if it's a field spell or not, but more or less, it's... Oh, no, that's the E-Telly. That's the one that's the starter. That one went to 1.
Oh, so it's a Kashtira card?
Yeah, it's the emergency teleport for Kashtiras.
Not just the level 4, any of them?
As far as I know.
Yeah, we don't even have that necessarily.
Actually, hold on. Give me a second here. You can keep talking. I'm going to try to pull it up here real quick.
I don't think so. I'm looking at all the Kashtira cards now. Oh, well. So as far as that goes, I definitely could see the TCG doing the same thing, but I also feel like they would touch Flunder. Now, I might misspeak on that because the deck hasn't won an event, but I feel like if you butcher tier this bad, right, you run into the same problem. Now, you could argue Runic or Runic Sprite, and Flunder would just be the meta, and it'd be like a 2-3 deck format. But
Right.
then you're just Konami always wants to push new stuff, right? And that's how the game works. So I don't think they're going to do that.
Nah, I don't think that stuff gets touched at all. I'm trying to think of what you would even touch from those decks anyway. But me personally, this is a hot take. I hope they ban Penguin just so I don't have to look at it anymore. What?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do something. If there is a ban list by March, right, which is when I anticipate, I think it's going to get announced in February, not be active until after Vegas. I hope they just kind of get not reboot the format, but like just kind of check everything, and so we can move on. You know,
You don't want the slaughtering of 2013.
I mean, that's fine too. You know, and then we could just do what the OCG does and unban, or was it they semi-limited Kagari?
Something like that. It was something wild.
God, can we take 5 seconds and acknowledge like that deck is absolutely bonkers right now over there.
Which deck is it?
Sky Striker.
That deck is arguably the most consistent I've ever seen a deck.
3 upstart, 3 chicken game, 2 Kagari, 2 roll, 2 engage. Like, you're not missing anything.
Like, bro, that deck gets to play every turn. Every turn.
All right, so go ahead.
3 upstart, 3 chicken games sounds so creamy. Like, bro, they're playing 34 card decks.
You forgot 3 terraforming.
They're playing 30. They're playing 31 card decks. That's so creamy. Anyway.
Yeah. So if we take this and just think about it moving forward, right? If you're going to an event in the next couple of months, right? If you're going to an event by February, enjoy your tier limits because I do anticipate something similar to, or in the TCG, at least personally. Hello?
God, is that you? It's
Okay.
Margaret.
Yeah, you disappeared for a second. So
I thought you were still going. That's why I didn't say anything. I apologize.
no, you're good. I should have prompted you. So as far as what do you see them doing stuff in the TCG similar to the OCG with branded?
Honestly, I don't know. It's weird, right? So like when the deck was like first released with like the structure deck and stuff like that, like people were calling for it, but then like it started getting phased out by like other decks, and then we had Sprite, Tier, and like the Punk Engine becoming like more and more popularized and stuff like that at the time. So it just kind of got like phased out a little bit, and then now that we have like the Shizu cards and stuff like that, but like it's one of those things that like if you answer the Shizu engine and the Tier engine now, and you just don't touch anything in the branded deck, like that deck becomes infinitely better than it is now. And branded fusion, like when it resolves, is easily like
It's nuts.
Me and Aldo were talking about like it can like produce 3 to 4 interruptions on its own by just resolving one copy of it. So like I can see them following suit and like preemptively like putting fusion to 1 or something like that, but honestly, it might not even get touched.
Yeah.
But that being said, there could be some crazy like build in the future that like prompts it to have to be. So I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, if it all depends on we've thought about this before in several other formats. It's like how far back do you go before you just like stop hitting decks, because in a vacuum, that deck is nuts, right? It really is. It can do a lot It just right now it has a really bad matchup in the current format with tier limits, and that's really the only thing keeping it down. So you eliminate that from the equation, and the deck is pretty freaking crazy.
The Bystials gave it such a good like power up and stuff like that. Like, whoo!
Yeah. So
nice.
I don't know where they're going to go with it. I would really like to see them check the Bystials. I think they're kind of out of control right now. I would really like to see them just kind of chop tier limits at the knees and then never look back. And
for sure.
Flunder, like I literally don't care about it, and I never want to see it. So
that's fair.
Bystials
will be interesting.
For personal reasons, you can get rid of Sprite Elf too.
Now, to be fair, Sprite Elf is like generically good as a Link 2. So like I could see that card actually just getting the exit stage, right? Whatever you want to call it. Like I could see it getting the boot. Like it's really good. Like even like in non-Sprite strategies, like anything that like benefits of playing a level 2 monster, that card's crazy.
Yeah, Sprite Elf is crazy. It does too much, and it specifically is really annoying to deal with when all your cards target. So
literally, like, bro, it would have been fine. Like, reviving cards during either player's turn, that's whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We could deal with that. But when it provides targeting action, bruh, I can only handle so much in a calendar turn.
Yeah, what I would be happy with seeing is if something like this happened, I would be very interested in playing and actually moving decks, right? I would be very interested in finding something new to play, because right now it's not really that hard. You either play the best deck or you fuck around, you know?
Just remember, if you fuck around, you're going to find out. But if you never fuck around, you're also never going to find out. So,
yeah,
like,
you got to find out at some point.
Exactly. It's scientifically proven.
So, look, if, say, hypothetically, we did get something similar to this, I would be very interested in playing Runic or some variant of, because I just really, really like those cards. I think they're super neat.
Ah, yes. They don't allow you to play the game. John is immediately amused.
They allow you to play the game, just a lot less of it than you wanted.
They allow you to play the game poorly, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, look at every deck I've ever played. That's pretty much what it is, right? Zoo, Invoked, Striker. I look fondly at Necros and Spellbook. Like, that's just how I play. I don't have the brain to memorize combos or actually think.
If you would have played Necros during Jin, when we had Jin, bro, you would have died a happy man.
I would have. So, that's what I would play. I assume you'd play Branded still.
I play the living shit out of Branded. I love the deck.
Yeah.
Like, I've always had a fondness for, like, fusion decks like Shaddoll and whatnot, but, like, Branded Fusion just does so much more than Shaddoll Fusion. Although, nothing's more satisfying than putting a Shaddoll Fusion down in something Construct and just watching that beautiful piece of purple cardboard just run everything over.
Yeah. So, I mean, Branded Fusion, to me, is just like, in my mind, it's just like upgraded Invocation. I know they're not the same in any way, but like that's how I view it. Like it's a off tier splashable fusion archetype that's like super neat.
I guess I'm looking at it, and it's kind of weird. Like, you could either hit Branded Fusion, or if you wanted to like keep the deck like playable, you could put like Albi into one. One of the fusion monsters.
Yeah, that's the level 8 that shuffles back, right?
No, so you're thinking of Lubellion.
Yeah, my bad.
Albion's Miracle Fusion, but it also, like, the only reason I say that is because, like, if you take Albion away, then, like, or not Albion, but if you put it to 1, you have to, like, be real careful about what you, like, summon. Plus, Albion is how, like, you search your follow-ups, because it also searches a Branded Spell Trap during the end phase. So that could be a cute interaction. Yeah,
unlike something like Tier, I feel like if Branded Despia was kind of running rampant, running out of control, like, it is easier to check by just hitting cards in a certain way, like you were talking about, right? It does have more. It's more reliant on certain pieces than something like tier. I feel like if tier has access to everything, regardless of the count, it's going to be pretty difficult to just kind of shut it down.
Right.
But I mean, I'm pretty much done with this discussion. We got like 2 minutes left. You got anything?
Well, I'm still searching for a saucy Dark World list. You know, gotta find that. Yeah, I mean, as the format develops, I mean, we're going to see more and more like innovation and stuff like that, and maybe we'll hopefully see the CC tier limit on the decline until finally Konami does something with it. But I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's in a very interesting spot right now. It went from I don't think it's this is what I've learned basically playing, and that is the more and more I've played this format, the more and more I realize like it's not impossible for other decks to win as much as I thought it was at the beginning of the actual format. So I'm hoping like we keep seeing a trend like that, but if not, I mean, we'll probably just follow suit to the OCG.
Yeah, I still have my gripes with it. I never felt like it was as oppressive as Spiral or as everywhere as Zodiac, but I have my problems with it. I think my problem is actually with the Ishizu cards more than tier cards, but that's just me.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's just annoying having a deck build around them. But with that being said, guys, it has been a pleasure as always.
Oh, I have one last thing.
What's up?
Douglas French has no sauce.
Piccolo, you have no sauce. Hey.
Like I said, it's always been a pleasure. If you found enjoyment listening to this, let us know by sharing the link. It really does help us grow. I don't know what happened last week, but we got like 3 or 4 times the views that we usually do. So I appreciate it. Leaving a like or comment on the platform that you're listening to is always a plus, right? You can find us in the Discord pretty much anytime. The link's in the description or at youtube.com/The Duel Factory for Joe or youtube.com/BingoHD for myself. Feel free to follow me on any social media, and hopefully I'll have your attention once again for next week's episode, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye.